No, we're not. We can't
Now
be
we
talking
are.
about
Now
that.
we are.
Okay.
Okay, wait, before we start, let's just so that it's on so that we have it recorded.
Yeah.
Leon just finished all 8 Harry Potter movies.
Wow.
Did you like them?
It was cool. I liked it. Not like a big like Potter
You're not a pothead?
Not a
fanatic.
pothead. Not a
what I mean?
pothead.
But it was cool.
Yeah.
You know,
It
there's
was cool.
people in this world that if you told them that, like, I just watched Harry Potter, they would literally freak out. They would look at you and be like, how did you make it this far without seeing my favorite series of all time?
It's my Lindsay, my wife is.
I know.
that-
I
yeah.
have a couple friends like that. They just love it.
So you watched all 8. Which one was your favorite, or what? Like, where was your favorite? In
Oh,
the
I
8?
know. I know which one.
No, you don't.
Oh,
know
yeah.
which
Go
one.
ahead. Say it.
I don't know if I really had a favorite part.
He didn't like it.
No, it was cool. It was cool, but it was good to like. All right, so over where I work, there's certain like pieces of audio that plays with the show that goes on over there, and I'm watching the movie and like I was like, oh shit, this part is I'm just I'm just making a correlation between the two, but I mean it was cool. It's fine.
It's like watching the show for the first time for him now.
I know. Like for me, that whole series, I like the back half better than the front half. Like it gets really dark,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's where they like hit their stride. And they broke away from like the little kids doing magic, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, into something a little more mature and dark. I thought was
And you know,
super
JK wrote
entertaining.
all of this on a napkin. Not all of these pages. No, that's not what she did. But she wrote the outline on a napkin in Edinburgh,
in Scotland, yeah.
Scotland.
And some of the scenery is like based on that. I can't remember what the name of that road is, but it's in Edinburgh. It's like a street, storefront street. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know. Yeah, sorry. I was like, I don't know
Someone
what
has
you're
the
talking about.
answer.
Yeah, it looks
No.
really Harry
No,
Potter when
no.
I was there. Yeah, that's good.
I mean,
Good for
it
you.
was, it was cool. Like to be honest, like I don't think I'll watch it again. Now not to like hate on it or anything like that. One of my favorite, like what I think is like probably the best TV show that came on was Breaking Bad.
Oh,
I love it,
Vince
but
Gilligan.
I'm not gonna watch it again because I don't want to go for that ride again, and it's like, it's too long, So no offense, I'm just not gonna watch Harry Potter
but-
again.
but-
I've seen it.
Now hold on a minute, because Breaking Bad is like how many seasons?
4.
It's only 4.
Yeah.
Oh, this might be a bad analogy. How many episodes in a season?
8, 10.
Okay, so one season of Breaking Bad is all the Harry Potter movies.
And,
Like
Yeah.
if each one's like an hour and a half or an hour and some change.
and these are also hour episodes too. So.
Yeah, like so Breaking Bad is like watching 32 Harry Potter movies.
Can I go on record and say that's how you sell the series? And yeah, I mean, I get it. You don't want to ride a roller coaster like that too many times. I can only watch those Lord of the Rings movies once.
People make the Harry Potter stuff like a Christmas religion.
Mm-hmm. I don't call these people my friend, Mike. I'm just kidding. No, I know people like that. Yeah, I wanted to check in with you guys based off of the pod that we did a couple weeks back about all that stuff that I was kind of dealing with, right? Kind of what's the summary of it? I mean I was just kind of hitting a wall, I wasn't feeling like I was going deep enough, in my work, and I was kind of hitting obstacles kind of along the way, and I had a wake-up call. And I just had I was lucky enough again to get a creative opportunity to go shoot a series up in Atlanta. And man, what a 180 from what I was feeling at that time when we recorded that podcast.
So you
I'm
felt
so
like
glad-
you found an opportunity to dig in on some deep work.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad we talked it out, because I was reeling for days thinking about what I had said and if it was too much and if anybody's really going to get it and but that's truly how I felt. And then, something I had auditioned for that came and went, got the call, booked the job, good job too. I don't think I can say what the series is yet, but, yeah, man, it was so much better. So much better. It was one of those. It was a really cool role. It was like one of those roles where I got to. It's complicated. There's a lot going on. It was like stunt driving sequence, which was, it wasn't really like I wasn't gonna flip drift a car, but I was just moving it into a location.
You're parking it. You parked it.
Yeah, but with theory behind the wheel.
Yeah.
And I got to I had to work with firearms, and in a veteran in the industry, and I got to play an Italian, which believe it or not, by my last name, I never really get to do that often, and it was just so, dude. It was a complex scene. Shut down downtown. Anytime you shut down downtown Atlanta to shoot a movie or a TV show, it's always cool, right? And anyway, I just remember sitting there, and we're at that point where we can just run it. Because it's so technical, and we need to just roll it to get it right. The scene was very performance-wise. It was right on the money. The guy that I was working with has been doing it for years, and I had prepared, and it was just a technical thing of like how to get things to look good, framing-wise. And I remember like it was like the 7th take where the sequence would start me getting out of the car, going for like a gun or something. And every time I do, like, no, go back. You sit there, and they have to clear traffic, wait for me to go. I would just sit there and look at myself in the rearview mirror and be like, I fucking love this. I love this. God, I love this. And every take, I was so relaxed and focused that I would just open the door, boom, right into it. Every time it felt a little bit deeper, a little bit different, a little bit playful, which is hard. I feel like playful, when someone's jamming a gun down your mouth, it's fun, man.
So
what blast.
So sounds like you had a good time.
Oh, it was a great time.
So what was the inspiration? Like, what inspired you to be able to get to that place? Or what did you use as a vehicle to like get into that mindset?
Well, I drove to Atlanta. That was, oh no, sorry, it's a terrible joke. But
what did you use as a vehicle? No, I got it.
Yeah, I know.
That's great.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Can we cut that, Leon? Can we just cut that part out? No.
We're gonna keep it in.
We're gonna keep it.
Yeah.
It's 3 for 3.
You're gonna have to sit in that.
No, I think it was the coming off of the conversation that we had on that podcast. Because I was forced to look at myself and be honest that where I was coming up short. And I allowed myself to relax too, which it's easy, I think, when you get to those gigs where, everything's all eyes are on you. This is a co-star gig, right? But I think it's easy to like we were talking about going into the studio with Matt Brown when the focus was you, even in that I'm a part of the story, but you make it about you. You can really kind of get in your head, and you can get nervous, and you can get locked up and seized up and tension, and but I think facing what I was facing that one podcast, coming to terms with it, accepting it, and relaxing the whole way up there. And when I got there, gosh, man, you can really let some magic come out.
That sounds like you found a sense of freedom.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way to say it.
Yeah,
for sure. I was free. I was free up there, and I think that's what inspired me to. Yeah, I guess that coming off that last podcast kind of inspired me and reinvigorated me to hit this gig differently than the last ones. And it's been, dude, I've been riding this high since I shot the thing last week. It's been great.
Well, that's good, because one of the things that I want to talk about today with you is inspiration.
Yeah.
And like the different drivers that are behind it. So maybe not specific to that, but more just the craft of acting in general, or being a musician or performer is where you find inspiration. Like, do you go searching for it, or are you just going along and then it finds you? It's a little different than the muse, where you're waiting for it. Like, we talked about waiting for the muse in the past, and how like if you wait for the muse, it might never come. What I mean more specifically is like, if you are looking to be creative, are you getting a project and then searching through different avenues to find inspiration on how to do that project? Or are you going through life with no project, and then you find something and then you're like, man, this is amazing and inspiring. I'm going to make a project out of this. You know what I mean? There's two different ways to look at it. I think I use both, but where does that sit with you?
So typically in the realm of acting, I mean, it comes in auditioning, like a lot of stuff will come through email and you don't really necessarily have a shot. So you have to do with what you can with it and find the inspiration in it. So a lot of it is searching, for that character. It's like that I booked. I mean, the inspiration there was just to be, I guess, I don't know if this is a good enough answer. I'm trying to figure it out in this domain, but it's just to be as believable as possible. Because that's all a casting director is looking for. They're just trying to see, do you look like you could be this person? And are you believable? And it's up to me to find the inspiration to be believable, if that makes sense.
Well,
maybe that doesn't make sense.
So subjective. Like, I don't know.
It is. Yeah. It's so subjective. But I think if I'm doing something with more import, more sustenance, like a I don't know, like a Streetcar Named Desire. Like we've seen that play. That's Stanley Kowalski. That's Marlon Brando. Like I guess I try to find it. I don't know. I think every project I'm just looking. I see the character and I have to find. It's kind of it's a discovery process. The inspiration really, unless a role calls out to you, which that does happen. But a lot of times you're just discovering, excavating, digging, finding, looking for anything that could potentially be of use for a character. There's a sometimes I don't know who said this, but someone along my journey was like, as soon as I start to know what kind of shoes my character wears, then I start to really get excited. So if I know what kind of shoes, if he's a poorer character, well, what kind of, does he have holes in his shoes? But if it's a more elegant, high class character, it's
filling in the blanks.
Yeah,
that aren't on the page.
100%. That inspiration. I think if you find something that you hold on to it, and you just see if that can inform everything else. There's an inspiration come from a song,
Yeah, it's funny, man. Like with the indoor shows or marching band shows, or you're designing anything in that world, like you'll often have a project that's already like, okay, there's a creative director and this is the vision for the show, and then you're trying to search for inspiration to make that vision come to life. So you might be working on a project in that sense, but while that's going on, like in everyday life, I'll be walking down the street and I'll walk by, a store with a mural in it, and it's like, whoa, that has to be a floor. Like that has to be an indoor floor, and it might not correlate with what I'm working on somewhere else, but it's like worth a stopping and taking a picture of it and documenting that to come back to it later is something, designed by discovery is what we call that. But like, it's something is so profound that you have to stop and document it because it might be something.
How does one be open to that?
I think, being open and curious is, I think, the answer. I mean,
you have to stay curious.
Being
you
curious
have to be open to it. You can't just feel like, I think I can see a scenario where somebody doesn't have the time or just thinks it's not worth it.
Right.
They're just moving forward. Like the mural, who cares? Mural, cool, great. Yeah, gotta go. I have somewhere to be. But
anything. I mean, curiosity in the sense of like with show design, anything could be an indoor show, or anything could be a program like that. Sometimes I'll like, so that's like a design by discovery type of element. But sometimes if I know what I'm looking for, like from a thematic, then I'll go and I'll find a book on set design, and I'll just look at different pictures of set design.
Sure.
And see if there's anything that resonates with that. Or like if I know the music, then the first thing that I would do is look at abstract artwork, either in a book or on Google. Like, I listen to the music, and this is for digging into work. Looking for inspiration, searching for inspiration, listening to the music, and then trying to feel what this sounds silly, trying to feel what color the music is.
No, that doesn't sound silly.
Like
at
if you
all.
have your eyes closed and the music is playing, what do
Yeah.
you see?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I think I see blue. So then
seen
I'll
that.
like start looking up abstract artwork with blue and white color palettes, or blue, white, and gray color palettes, or blue, white, gray, and black color palettes, and seeing if there's any picture or image or abstract artwork that like makes me feel how the song makes me feel, or the music or the chord structure makes me feel. Like if I
Yeah.
can find an alignment in that, then I feel like I'm onto something.
Yeah.
But that's an example of like really searching,
That is,
you know, instead
yeah.
of like just kind of being open to accepting whatever comes.
Is that fun? Do you like doing that?
I
The
do.
search?
I nerd out on the searching.
I could see, yeah.
But I also love when something stops me dead in my tracks that I'm not expecting. An example of that would be when we were in the Netherlands. We were on bicycles through Amsterdam, and we were bicycling through the town, and I think we came across an art installation of shipping containers that were spray painted,
Yeah.
and everybody else kept bicycling to the destination as a restaurant, and we took a detour to that, and we're just enjoying that installation. It was just super cool. And that's a moment where it's like something else is calling you over there, and you just need to go see it just for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to stay long, but you want to document it.
Leave it to the two guys. Go off to look at a shipping container artwork yard to start an art podcast.
Yeah.
No, that's. I mean, that process you just described. That's a very imaginative way of being the driving factor for what you're I guess what you're trying to create. You know, case in point is I'll use this example again: the streetcar named Desire. When I was working on that a while ago, I listened to Frank Sinatra music, specifically My Way. Reason being, at that time in America, when Tennessee wrote that play, it was a time where, you know, men were different. They were changing. The war had finished. There was a different cultural significance to the man providing for the woman, and Death of a Salesman had just come out. It was very much, I'm going to do this my way. And Stanley Kowalski in that show was kind of, I don't know if you remember this Streetcar at all. No?
It's going to be really embarrassing. I've just been sitting over here nodding like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. I have no clue
You have no idea what
movie
about.
that is.
Well, it's a play that was a movie. Yeah.
Okay, great.
But it's
Halfway.
One of the greatest plays in American theater of all time. It
Streetcar
also,
Named Desire.
Yeah, and then the movie made Marlon Brando. Ever
Leon,
heard of
can
him?
we pull that movie up real quick and watch it? Is that?
It's so old. It's so old. And the reason I'm bringing it up, because it's in American cinema too. It meant a huge deal in America when that movie came out, and what Marlon Brando did for the American male, because he was a strong man, right? He was the provider. He was kind of this macho, machismo kind of.
What era was this? Did you say? It was the 50s?
1950s.
Oh, I love the 50s.
Yeah, right. It was
great
that.
times. Yeah.
Yeah, we were a great time right after the war. So yeah, there it is. Streetcar Named Desire.
So you're listening to Frank Sinatra
While working on that character. Because My Way, the song My Way,
Yeah.
I did it my way. It's all about a guy who's taking it upon himself, shouldering the burden, doing it his way instead of what other people want to do, right? It's exactly what Stanley Kowalski, that's his theme song. And I remember listening to it and looking at my lines and being like, this is what Stanley stands for. Kind of what you're saying. The inspiration came from music. Music tells a story, and it tells part of Stanley's story. I think what he's probably thinking, you know?
Yeah, that's the power of music right there. It's so crazy that that it can be utilized, a sound or a frequency or a vibration can be utilized to create an image. You know, whether it's for show design with an abstract piece of art, or whether it's for theater study to come up with a character or visualization of a character, that music can be such a powerful vehicle to get you to that place.
I worked with an actress that she had a scene where she had to walk on stage crying, and I had just come off stage with a bloody ear, and I would pass her and she would have her headphones and just bawling, listening to, I don't know what she was listening to, probably Meatloaf, but dude, she would just cry, and then like somehow she knew where her cue was. She would take it out right there. And then she would enter and just be on stage crying.
Wow.
I'm like, geez.
So
Get there somehow.
So getting to that place and finding inspiration, like, do you prefer to dig into stuff, like to search for it, or do you prefer to just be open to stumbling across it as you're going? Like, do you want to search for it, or do you want the design by discovery type of thing?
I like both. I think like everybody, I think it's a little bit in the middle. I think. It's hard to, yeah, I think I'm in the middle on all of that stuff. But what I prefer is if I'm reading, I'll go back to auditioning because that's what most of my job is anyway.
Yeah.
Is when I read it and it comes to me immediately. I love that. Then it's I was almost going to say the muse. It's not the muse. It's just instinct.
The muse
coming
doesn't
through.
exist.
It
There's
doesn't
no muse.
exist. It doesn't exist. You know, but I love it when I read something down and it just comes to me instantly and there's an instinct and it's all there. And then I get to go and play with that and see what else comes, what kind of ideas come. But if it's not clicking, I start to, I guess I don't panic, but that just means that there's some work here to do. And I have to sit down and I have to really think about it and then search maybe where do I go? Music. There's another thing that's actually interesting that a lot of actors use in, for inspiration, where they attribute their characters to animals.
What?
So
What's that?
Think about this. Let's think of a film that we all saw with a villain in it. Very popular. Harry Potter. Perfect. Great.
Love that.
Thanks, Leon. There it is. So if you're playing,
Yeah.
do we say his name?
No, we can't say his name. He who will not be named.
Snape?
Is that right?
Snape.
Oh, that's way different. I thought you were going the other way.
He who will not be named.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's probably what we should have done. That's what
You
I
said
should have
villain.
You don't
Have
think
you not
Snape?
seen the films?
Professor? Oh, you're right. Snape is the guy.
No,
He's the
spoiler
emo.
alert.
Oh, sorry.
Spoiler alert. Some people haven't seen it. Leon just watched it. So if
He
he
just
just watched
watched
it,
it.
there's a lot of people who haven't seen it.
You're right. Damn it. It's not Snape.
Okay, so there's a bad guy
He's the emo
in
guy.
Harry
that's upset.
Potter. Surprise.
Voldemort.
Oh.
All right. So if you're playing Voldemort,
Mhm.
you could think of, him in so many different ways, right? You could, however your process wants to be. But one way an actor could potentially, barely made it through that word, potentially play Sir Lord Voldemort is you could think of what kind of animal you think that character would be.
Snake.
Cool. A snake.
Yeah.
So think about what kind of movements a snake might have, how he slithers across the room as opposed to walking across the room. How sometimes maybe if he has phrases,
I feel like they totally did. I mean, yeah.
potentially,
They
right?
totally did a snake.
You can find inspiration in animals. There's a play called Lobby Hero. One of the characters, he's all jumpy. He's always a really happy character. Michael Cera played him on Broadway, one of the characters. But you could say that character was a golden retriever. So do your lines like you're a golden retriever. Pull it back. You're obviously not going to bark at the other person. Or
Right,
maybe
right.
do bark and see where that goes. And then you'll find something within that. And then the character will start to flesh itself out.
Dude, this is what I'm talking about. This, yeah.
Hey, welcome to the podcast.
So have you used that practice?
You go to, there's a dog chew toy in my office.
No,
and
maybe
you're
not.
like, what are you doing? I'm like, just doing some acting work.
Maybe
Just
not the
chilling.
dog. Have you used the animal practice at all?
Yeah. I think so. I go to those tools when I'm reading down something and it just doesn't click and I have to do a little bit digging. So I have some techniques I use in my back pocket.
Wow, that's a great one.
Yeah.
That's a solid move.
Yeah. You ever think about writing through the lens of an animal?
No. I can honestly say
Gorilla.
haven't. Well,
Hey.
no, I can't speak to this. I haven't, but there is like a small hype within our Central Florida drumming community about like monkey and gorilla and like being being real primal with your drumming.
Blue Man Group does that, right? Isn't that their style of drumming?
I've never seen Blue Man Group. Don't know.
serious?
Never.
What?
I have friends that are Blue Men that I've never seen the show.
It's kind of a bummer.
A little bit. They don't.
Yeah.
It's not around here anymore.
Stay tuned until they are. They're actually, the rumor is that they're coming back.
Word on the street.
Word on iDrive is that they may or may
Wow.
not be coming back. I don't know. It would be really cool. But that kind of music seems to be informed more primally charged. And I guess you could look at it from a lens of an animal, but it's also, I think, I don't know. I don't know if it necessarily works as well with composing and creating show design.
I'm sure it could. There's if you're trying to create an impactful moment for like a convention show, you want to do big arms. They call that like monkey drumming type stuff too. Like where it's just big motions where you're using bigger hinges through your expression. Like if you're doing like stuff that's like rudimental, it's a lot of times it's smaller muscle groupings, like in the fingers, wrists, and elbow. But then when you're trying to be more impactful and expressive, that's when you start to use from the elbow to the shoulder. It's just bigger muscle groupings, bigger hinges.
From a performative standpoint, but what about when you're creating the melody, or when you're actually writing the notes? Or could you look at it from that lens?
I don't know. Unless I was writing like Jungle Book, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't. It doesn't seem like it transfers over to music as well. Does it, Leon? When you produce music, can you write through the I guess the perspective of a if you're going for a feeling or a tone through some sort of an animal or something?
I could totally see maybe like a snake or something, but
snake or lion or
I haven't really done like the animal thing.
No, man.
Yeah, that seems too avant-garde and too.
I bet you it's out there.
Cerebral.
So that'll be a mission for me.
Jacob Collier's probably like, oh yeah, absolutely.
I've got toucan pieces. Yeah.
He's like, I wrote as a lion once. The lion loved it.
And it's probably brilliant, is what it is. Yeah,
and it won a Grammy actually.
Okay, I'm gonna make that my mission in our off time. Is I'll find some animal inspired.
Oh,
pieces.
I do have one.
Okay.
All right. NERD, right? They have a song. I think it's on the Nothing album. I'll find out exactly. They have a song called "Life as a Fish," and it is from the perspective of a fish.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right, we need to watch that.
I would love to hear that. Is it good? Do you feel like you're like, wow, I get it?
No, that's real good.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm the fish.
I mean, think about writing it from I'm thinking of a lion right now. And I'm just thinking of the intro of Monster, Kanye with Rick Ross. that opening, which is a lion roar. But that is, I mean, that track, you know what I'm talking about, right? Monster?
Mm-hmm.
That's got some animalistic qualities at the top of it. Something.
It's definitely a thing. I haven't found that vehicle yet or that inspiration
that
yet.
Technique that to lean into that.
But 2025 is a new year. So
I know.
We'll see.
Infinity's a Jungle Book show with birds and shit. Oh my gosh. From the perspective of a bird, it's awful. And I'm like, Mike, how did you
this was your idea. You don't like it? Come on, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but you can, it's just, I think the reason why it works in the arena of acting is because probably behavior. You're trying to capture a behavior of a human or a character, and animals have behavior. They tell a story too.
And you think that behavior shows up in the form of physical expression?
Yeah, physical, temperament, emotional. I think, you see it. And I use this example, but Planet of the Apes. I mean, you clearly see how they're literally playing apes. That's not the best example, but I think, is that what you're talking about? Inspiration? Like, yeah, you could think about physically how when you play a shapeshifter like a wolf or something, there's some things that are going to physically inform the character that you would be inspired by an actual wolf. Things that or mannerisms that they have too.
And acting, I feel like it's an easier connection to make, especially with how primal the physical expression can be.
That just reminded me. Sorry, I want to go back and say something that I caught. So back.
Okay,
I'm going far back.
Let's go. Go back, but then we're gonna come back this way.
Yeah.
And I want to jump back onto physical expression when we get back here.
Talking about mannerisms, something that I remembered from the shoot from Atlanta is that my scene partner he's a very prominent Italian actor in Hollywood, and he did something. We both did something to each other. We had this similar mannerisms. as Italians that I didn't realize. We did
What are you talking about?
Okay. Could you imagine? It's just us two in the green room.
We had these similar mannerisms.
Talking, I didn't
never
know what
noticed
it was.
them
Something weird about it. But one thing that he both did, I gave him a toothpick and he was about to walk out and he had to go up for a scene or something. He got up and we both looked at each other and we nodded and winked at each other and we walked to the room. I'm the only person I know that does that besides Laura now. But it was like stuff like that. I was just like, wow, Italians, we really stick together, huh?
That's good. Okay.
Thank you. Mannerisms. Italians.
Love that.
We do it too for inspiration. I think of Italians. But go back to you.
No, it's good. I think it actually plays into it. So
Perfect.
This is maybe less, we're off the track of inspiration here for a minute.
Okay.
But you're talking about mannerisms. We're talking about physical expression and animalistic approach to that. And it just makes me think of this rule of, what is it? The 55-37. Well, this is not good.
Oof. 17?
Nope. 55-38. We're going to have to cut this part.
The rule. You're talking about the rule of
7-38-55.
Yeah, baby. That's like Fetty Wap.
7-38-55 rule. It's the
Explain that.
It's the rule of like communication and sending a message or delivering a message to another person. It says that 55% of the message you deliver is based on physical expression. 38% of that message that people interpret is the tone of voice, and 7% are the words that you say. So when you're speaking, people are only interpreting 7% of the words. I don't know if that's the right way to pitch that, but 7% of what you pick up on is the words. 38% is the tone of voice, and 55% is the physical expression. So like that, the physical expression is more powerful than the words you say. And physical expression and tone of voice. So not even what you're saying, but how you're saying, you know what I mean? Like all that is more weighted in a performance than the actual words being spoken. So like I could see how that approach specific to animals can be a powerful tool, given that it's weighted so highly.
I have never thought about it in those terms, but that makes so much sense. Why, if you're looking for, the walk of a character and you can't really seem to find it in your own bones, then maybe you turn yourself into a hyena, for a little bit. And I know this sounds ridiculous, but maybe out of that, you find a way of the tone of which you speak, and then maybe you stumble upon maybe a way that you move, which is your body language, and then your tone of voice is there figured out. And the lines, I mean, your intention is somewhere else, but people are reading another, they're reading what you're putting out. So that's very interesting.
Where does method acting sit on that scope? Like
I get so much flack from actors.
Inspiration.
I hate whatever I say next. Method acting has become such a taboo thing, right? So like when I say method acting, what do you guys think of? I'm just curious.
I think of Heath Ledger and the Joker.
You think he's actually becoming a psychotic clown?
I think so.
What do you think, Leon?
I would kind of go with the same.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like Daniel Day-Lewis, he became like a shoe cobbler to go play a role, a guy that builds shoes in Ireland or something.
To be honest with you, I love the idea of that. Like if you're so ingrained in something that you become it, like that sounds super special.
Well, I'm about to ruin it for you.
Oh boy.
It's not that. I mean, there's this famous instance where Dustin Hoffman was working with Laurence Olivier, and Laurence Olivier was, I believe, was supposed to be torturing Dustin Hoffman in the scene. And before they shot the scene, Dustin Hoffman went out and, really tortured himself, stayed up, sleepless nights, stayed out, like slept outside, did things to stress himself in his body so that he was ready to shoot the scene, right? He really went method with it. And Laurence Olivier looked at him on set that day and said, "It's so much work. Have you tried acting? Because what is the point? You're doing all this stuff. You could just act, or you could become an actor, And I mean, Dustin Hoffman, I hate to shit on his process because that guy's got a great career and he knows what he's doing. But you don't have to go to that extent. You don't have to.
I mean, there are people that go like way further than that, though. What about
Daniel Day.
Christian Bale in The Machinist?
Right. Right.
And there's, I mean, that talking about craft. I mean, that's a guy who ate an apple a day. That was his diet for that movie to get to 120 pounds. An apple a day. Think about the level of commitment. Joaquin Phoenix in this past Joker did something very similar. Now, I think he did that for that physical look. I don't know what he was like on set and if he was actually, I mean, I think there's actors who use the method for it's about them. It's about their internal interiority, right? They're figuring out the internal layers of the characters that shows up on when the camera's around, and we believe that Daniel Day-Lewis is President Lincoln. And on that set, Mr. Spielberg had the entire crew refer to Daniel as President Lincoln. Mr. Lincoln, right over this way. We're ready for you right here, Mr. Lincoln. So he would, oh, yes, of course, yeah. You know?
But is that not just a really, really deep level of inspiration? Like, I'm trying to get inspired to play this role. I'm looking for inspiration, and my inspiration is becoming that person.
Mm-hmm.
Not becoming that person when the red light is on, but just being that person.
Yeah.
For, I don't know how long those projects go, a year, 6 months.
I think he stays in it. I know this because I know an actor who's kind of like this, who's had a lot of success in the industry, and he uses a method approach to it where he just kind of sits in those thoughts and that type of character for long periods of time. So I'm sure all day on set, he's right there, and he's probably thinking as Lincoln. And then he gets in his car, he goes back to his trailer, takes off the makeup, goes back to his hotel room. And I think it hasn't washed off completely, right? It hasn't completely left him. He's still that temperament, probably. It's not fully fleshed out. I'm sure he probably goes in and out of his accent, but he's probably, this is going to sound crazy, he's probably dreaming as Lincoln.
Wow. See, that sounds, you make it almost seem like it's a bad thing, but I'm not an actor, but if I was, I feel like that's the vehicle that I would try to go for inspiration. It's like that, just
sure,
all encompassed.
I think
approach.
Again, there's no right or wrong way to any technique that any actor does. I don't think. I think it's like whatever works best for you. And the method, I mean, I think what it really is just making it building out in the interiority of a character. So you're creating you're learning how the character thinks, and you're thinking in those terms. You're living that thing, what it is. And to build a character up around that, the thought the character would have, think about yourselves. I mean, what do you value in life? Morally, what do you think about a character? Oh, this character was poor growing up. Well, now that this character is you at this age, what do you value in life? And you start to think in different terms about the world. You see things differently. It takes a very, very deep level of empathy to play these characters, to play Abraham Lincoln, to play the butcher from Bill the Butcher from Gangs of New York, right? To play these characters. And a lot of actors are not willing to go that far. That's what I was talking about with the two podcasts. I want to go further into that. But at the same time, there's a stigma around it where you don't want to be an asshole to your co-stars who are working with you, which I've been on the receiving end of. I've worked with people who are pretty method that kind of suck to work with because they're not getting out of it. And depending on what you're shooting, like if it's something the stakes are super high and it's intense, it can.
Have you ever taken that approach?
What?
Method acting?
I mean, I take what I need and what sometimes, if you need it, it's there. I think it makes it about yourself. And then there's another technique called the Meisner approach, which is about the other person.
I'm familiar with Meisner.
Right.
Yeah,
so that's when you're putting it on the other person, right? You're looking at them and you're repeating what they're doing. And I interchange it, I think it's whatever serves, whatever inspiration comes from whatever I read, I think I'll use that technique for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It sounds so niche. And maybe my understanding of Meisner is different or skewed. But like we use that, what I think is that approach.
We should probably define what that is. I feel like we just went super like there's now one person paying attention. Hey mom, this is what it means. Meisner is a repetition exercise that's used by actors to put the focus on the other actor that takes the thought out of the scene that we're doing. So one thing we'll do, just really repeat me, ready? Blue shirt.
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 And it takes the complete judgment and everything out of it. And now we're just working off of each other and we're looking at each other and it will shift. The exercise will shift into now I'm noticing Mike's posture and how he's feeling and how he's doing. And this makes me now think about you because in a scene, well, it's not just about you sometimes. Sometimes you have other players, scene partners and stuff.
Well, I had it all wrong. I'm glad you broke it down.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we're getting into the weeds out here. If you're still with us, it's a combination of the two. So the method and Meisner is what creates some life, creates life, baby. That's what it's all about.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's amazing is what it is.
It's phenomenal, right?
So to backtrack just a little bit, you had mentioned empathy. So it almost sounds like the key to unlocking inspiration, whether it's like for your character, for the person that you're working with, or just an understanding of what's between the lines on a script as you're breaking it down, is empathy.
It's huge.
Like not having to agree with, but understanding the perspective of either your character or the person that you're interacting with.
Oh, it's everything.
And if you can identify that, then inspiration kind of flows a little easier.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. I mean, the inspiration will come if you can't empathize. I don't think maybe you might be able to find the inspiration somewhere, but that empathy part is just I hate calling it's such a big part of the craft. It's huge in my opinion, but who knows? I got a gun shoved down my mouth in downtown Atlanta. So I had much empathy there.
How's the empathy in that scene? Yeah. My goodness.
Yeah. I mean, well, how about let me ask you. So does the empathy thing work when you're composing music and when you have when you were designing the show this past season about life and how you're born, things happen to you and you die. When you're writing that music, are you empathizing with the human element and
for sure,
finding that inspiration within that?
I think I use empathy as a tool in maybe a different manner. I use it in a sense of like the actual performers that are performing the music. So when we're writing stuff, or when I'm writing something, I am thinking of the actual performers that have to play it. And what do they look like in that moment? And what does it feel like to play these parts? And try to put myself in their shoes and understand what they'll feel like, what they'll look like, maybe what they'll emotionally be contemplating in any given moment. There's a moment in this past year's show where there's like a wall of mirrors and a single bass drummer facing that wall of mirrors. And
I love that moment, by the way.
Oh, it's really great. And literally as I was orchestrating with our team that bass drum moment, so sitting on a couch with Dylan Charles and Matt Albano, and I'm explaining to them like how I'm picturing this performer finals night 6 months from now, and what they might be feeling looking into this mirror, like holding their hand up on their age out year and like being the only thing on the floor and like trying to design a moment that like, yeah, of course, like it's a really cool, surreal moment for the show and for the audience, but like what it must feel like to be that performer in that moment and to have that. Oh, wow. And to be looking at your own reflection. So like empathy in the sense of like really understanding what the performer is going to feel in that moment is a really powerful tool. And not every moment is going to be like that. Like sometimes you're playing drums to play drums, you know. But when you can find moments to really utilize empathy as a tool and take advantage of it, it's really special.
I didn't know that I didn't realize that when you write, you also have to think about the people that you're writing for. I just thought I was just thinking so much from an outward in standpoint from the audience, and you're writing, you know, for the judges and audience and people, but there's also those people are playing the notes. And so I guess I never thought.
Everyone's interpretation of the activity is different, and people have different drivers for why they do it.
Right.
For some folks, it's a competition, and you're literally checking boxes to get coins, you know, to get points or whatever.
Right.
And then there's another end of the spectrum where it's just pure artistry. You know, we really try to have a healthy balance of like, this is art, and we get to do this with our friends and create this product with, I don't know, like 75 plus people. I mean, you build something really special, but there's definitely a left and right side of that. And I think for me, like, I value the artistic side a little more. And some people value the competitive side more and are really successful and great at it. So like, you know, that's
what inspires them.
Yeah, it's not a knock on that. There are people that are absolutely stellar when it comes to programming moments and stuff. But I think it's got a little more power and emotional value to it if you can unlock something like that.
Yeah, to your point, whether it's competitive or artsy, I'm just so glad that we're the kind of people to abandon a bike ride to go look at some shipping containers of art, because that means that we're open to that outside inspiration that can come from anywhere. You know, you know, I'm just, because when you were talking through that, I was kind of worried. I was like, because sometimes I get competitive. Am I that person? I was like, no. I'm the reason why we stopped to go look at the shipping containers in the first place, you know, but you know what I'm saying? It's the kind of person that's not afraid to go off and get lost and find something that they weren't looking for.
Yeah.
You know, I love that.
I think it's okay to be both.
Yeah.
Just like we're talking about, you know, finding inspiration, like, are you open to it or are you searching for it? Like, it depends on the context of whatever that given moment is. So if you can find, I mean, everyone's percentage and weight distribution of those things is going to be different, but you know, if you can find what your percentage is on those action items and those things, and you know what you value, and it makes you who you are.
What if the well is empty and there's nothing there?
Probably then you want to stick to method acting.
Yeah. Start to think of yourself as a rat in New York City.
I just am this thing. Yeah. Method acting.
You know, but now I'm starting to think, like, you know, when you sit down, there's no inspiration, there's no motivation, there's nothing. I mean, it's kind of where I was, I guess, two pods ago, but I don't know. I guess, but I had the luxury of sitting here and talking about it with you guys and calling myself out.
You did, and you had the luxury of a drive up to Atlanta to really think about it.
To really think about it too, you know, and to kind of write it, you know, and use that up.
You were supposed to take a pilgrimage to New York.
I know, I was supposed to.
And instead you took a drive to Atlanta. ATL.
I mean, there's nothing like shooting a gig like that inspires you too, you know, but when the wells, you know, dried up and there's no more water but sinkholes now, what do you do?
Probably hang up the towel.
Yeah, just quit. Just quit. Get out.
Yeah. Well, for music or for writing, it's just you write. You just gotta
have to. I mean, you literally have.
You keep writing, and regardless, even if it's bad, and then you go back and you fix it later.
See, that's not with me. I had somebody on the outside tell me kind of what I was going through, and then I proceeded to do multiple gigs after that and just fucking eat a giant shit. It was so bad. It was so bad, you know. And I had to find my way out of it somehow, you know, clawing way out.
Well, you found your way.
I did, but I was just for the one person that's listening to this. I'm just trying to, if they're ever in that area where the well is Mom, the well has droughted out, and you can't seem to find that thing to get you going. You know, you keep looking around, and it seems like everyone else has got a thing, and everyone else is doing something, and it's like you look at yourself, and you can't even seem to sit with yourself because there's nothing there.
If the well is empty, just keep working. Eventually, it'll rain, and the well will fill back up.
The rains will come, right?
Yeah.
The rains will come.
The muse won't come, but the rain will be there.
The rain will be there. You know? Yeah. I don't know, Leon. How do you find inspiration these days? A little bit of both? You searching for it? Does it come to you? You're open to seeing it? You see it every now and again when you watch a Harry Potter show?
A Harry Potter show?
Maybe when he watches us?
I don't know. I mean, I think out of all the times that I may get inspired by things, I think majority of the time it's inspiration that I'm not looking for. So sometimes it just, I don't know, just anything could just inspire you. Maybe you saw somebody do something this way and you're like, oh, let me try it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Or situations. All right, when it comes to music, all right, music is like emotions and stuff like that, right? So it's all about making people feel a certain way, and life will give you some inspiration
for sure.
The bad shit, the good shit, and then also like going to what you were saying about like with your tank being empty, when you get to that point, you kind of think about like, is this truly like my passion, or is this really my thing? And you start second guessing yourself. But one thing that sticks with me, that like definitely helps me keep going, is I had to realize a long time ago that my gift is not for me; it's for everybody else. Now I'll benefit from it, but it's for other people. Same thing with you doing your competitions where you're writing all that stuff. It's a talent that you have. It's for us. It's for you to benefit off of, but it's for us. It's for everybody else, So just maybe, really realizing that this isn't for me. This gift that I have, it's for other people. So I got to keep going.
Oh, I'm about to cry.
I was about to cry too.
Man, that's a powerful take.
There's a saying that the Native Americans believe that God loves stories, and that's why he created people, because he wants to see you live out your story. It's true. It's not for us. It's for whatever, either higher power being or other people. That's what you're writing. Like you said, you wrote that for that bass drummer at that moment, for that one person, whoever that special person was. You wrote it for that one person, Oh, it's not for you.
Sure. Yeah.
That's
wild.
Great.
I've never thought of it from that lens before. I don't know what to say, man. That's crazy.
Damn, Leon coming in, just watches a couple of Harry Potter movies and just starts dropping wizardry on us, man. What was that, witchcraft? Jeez, what spell was that?
No, but like, I mean, that's what I've gathered from, like, I'm a Christian, so like, that's what I've gathered from, that religion, so.
I think there's something to it, man. It's not for, I think if you think about it in those terms, it really allows you to let go, because it's not for you. It's never meant to be for you. As much as I would love to be selfish about, my monologue from Richard III, but it's not about me. It's always about the other person on stage, or
it's like pure art, is the non-self-serving art.
Yeah. But what is the trap though? You get too heady. You start thinking about it too much. You start thinking in your own say, thinking about I'm all over myself here, but what gets in the way? We get in our own way, right? We get in the way, and then
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
We get in the way, life gets in the way, priorities get in the way.
I can see external factors for me, like life starts to happen and I start to get away from it. And I know now I'm thinking about it because I'm doing it for me as opposed to just, no, it's not for me.
myself.
You're just gonna say, yeah, you're just not gonna finish the song. What song is
Yeah,
that?
Infinity will know the deep cuts for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, that's a great note to end on.
Hey, you just got to keep going, man. Keep going.
Oh, great.
Keep going.
You can find inspiration anywhere. You can search for it. You can stumble across it. And when you do, enjoy it and allow other people to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Be open to it. Be open to it. And remember, it's not for you.
No. Well, you really shut me down on that
Jeez,
line, man. I was
you
not ready
literally
for that.
just put it. We should just clip that, and that's the podcast. It's just Leon being like, it's not for you. It's not for you. Oh, I'm going to be thinking about that for days.
Thanks, Leon.
Thanks, Leon.
And just think about all the gifts that people have. All the artists, physical artists, dancers, fashion designers, inventors, electricians, it's not for you.
Yeah, I always say this to me. I've been saying this a lot recently because as I'm getting older, when you're an artist, you start to wonder, what are some other things I can do in case, this goes belly up if I'm not going to create anymore, But then I'm just always come back to the facts, like the best thing I'm good at is telling a story. I'm an actor, I don't know.
That doesn't mean that's the only thing that you're good at.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I always tell myself that story where I'm like, it's the best thing that I'm at. It's the gift that I'm given. So I might as well just start giving it out more and just keep doing it because that's what I was given. I could tell a knock joke that would make your pants fall off.
And that's the end of the podcast.
Knock.
I can tell. Oh, you want to tell it?
Knock.
Who's there?
Dishes.
Dishes who?
Dishes Sean Connery.
Okay. We're going to cut it there.
No, we're leaving that in. Oh, man. I really wanted to show you guys this video that before we go. So Apple just released a new iPad Mini Pro. And what's the CEO's name? Tim Cook?
Yeah.
He just posted this on his Twitter, and people hate it.
Are we doing ads for Apple right now?
No, we're not doing this. Is not an ad for Apple, but they released this commercial for it, and it's gotten nothing. I shouldn't say too much. How about play the video? It's a minute long.
Yeah.
Do we need the audio? Do y'all need to hear it, or I can just
You can just play it. You can play it. So, and I'll describe to the listener. You're seeing a bunch of recording instruments, metronomes, and they're all on a stage, and it's being crushed right now by a giant concrete wall.
Oh no! Is the concrete wall AI?
And it's a beautiful music that's behind it. Look at all that. See that?
Oh,
yeah.
It's destroying everything.
It's destroying everything. The drums,
the sculpture, the artwork, the paint. Oh yeah, the cameras.
Oh no, that hurt. That one hurt right there.
The guitar's is blowing up.
God.
The books.
Don't do it. No. Who directed this?
Okay.
Ready? iPad Mini.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You love that?
I love it.
The new iPad Pro. People are hating it because
it makes it seem like all these
you took away all of these man-made
all these tangible
creations.
items.
Yeah,
you don't need them anymore. You just need our one electronic device.
Exactly.
Totally get it.
I hated it.
Okay.
I didn't like it. I thought it made me feel sad.
We're supposed to end. We're gonna keep going.
We're gonna keep going?
Yeah. I need to go on a 5-minute rant.
5-minute rant?
A 3-minute rant.
I'm kidding. Go for it.
Okay. So this is a hot take for me. People are offended by that trailer, right? You're saying you're offended.
I'm offended by that trailer.
You're offended, and other people are as well. You're seeing.
Oh, everyone is.
Great. So this comes down to like a moral dilemma or an ethics dilemma, I suppose, of like you're right as a consumer. I think as an artist, whoever made that or designed that trailer, like I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is a work of art. destroying the art is the art. And
Yeah, you're right.
an artist should be able to make what they want to make within the confines of the law, I suppose. But like an artist should be able to make the art that they want to make.
Mm-hmm.
And it's your choice as a consumer whether you're going to consume that or not. And I feel like too often, like people are offended by this film says this thing and this thing. Well, that's the artist or the director's choice to put those in there. And if you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. So there's like an outlash of like these type of things shouldn't be made anymore. And it's like, well, they can be made. You just have to decide not to watch it. But then there's also the other side of that spectrum, which is everything is on a streaming platform and force-fed to people these days. How am I supposed to be taking in film when the only thing that's offered to me is like this small, confined amount of things? So I have no choice but to watch it because it's the only thing that's available.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's your choice as a consumer whether you want to consume whatever that streaming service is. So like, I don't know, man. Like if you don't like that commercial, don't watch it.
I know. I get what you're saying. And art is supposed to rattle the cage and make you feel something.
Yeah.
You know, it does. And that commercial made me feel something.
It did its job. That is real art.
They did it good. So whoever wrote it and shot it, great job.
Yeah.
I hate you. I just didn't like how, I don't know, maybe because when it was sent to me, the person that sent it to me was like, this is the worst commercial. And I was like, let me see it. I'll be the judge. And I watched it and I was like, it made me feel so sad so quickly because I was watching all these instruments and everything could just get disintegrated.
Yeah.
And then it was like the iPad mini. And then not to mention the CEO is bragging about this new product. And I just was like, I don't know. I get what you're saying. And the iPad mini Pro is probably super great. It's not even about that for me. I just hated watching that was the commercial that marketing was like, we're going to get these people. And I was like,
don't get me wrong. I think it's sad. I was watching it and I was like, oh, wow, this is the end of, I was literally like, oh, is that AI? Like we're ending natural creativity for synthetic creativity. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're at now. But how they went about delivering that message, because it's a scary message, but the delivery of it, I thought was beautiful.
It was the Angry Birds for me, man. That fucked me up.
I love the way that the paint, like the color spills out at the end.
The blood of the
blood of all artists.
It was definitely a fun shoot.
Yeah.
It was definitely a fun shoot.
Not you, fun. Leon. Not you.
No, it looked fun. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What I got from it was, it's kind of like, all right, you do all these things. You can do it now all in one place. And also, what we have to realize is that those things still exist and those things still can be incorporated with new technology. So it's more about how you're using the technology.
I feel like Leon's trying to
I hear you. I wanna end this with a quote.
Hit it.
Is it okay? Would that be all right? Okay.
Hit it before I start crying.
This is a quote by the great comedian Ross Padgett. Art is dead. There is no canvas. Oh, no, there is. The canvas is your phone. Like that iPad is the new canvas. That's what you're saying. Art is dead. We crushed it. This is your new canvas. This is where you get to be creative now.
You know,
I don't love that, but damn, it's a painful, beautiful truth.
I'm a pretty optimistic person, but I'm sitting here and I feel like I have two people from Cyberdyne Systems selling me on a fucking iPad mini.
You're going to go buy the iPad.
Yeah. The next fucking studio that closes down, I'm buying it. All right, man. Well, I'm good. This was a good conversation. Leon, thanks for your inspiration. That was good. You good?
I'm good.
You good?
Yep.
All right. Wrap it up.
Peace.
That's it.